Just a spectacular day in Baltimore. 82 degrees. Cardinals and Ravens getting ready to do battle as we welcome in Peter Schrager.
Brandon, we got two great young quarterbacks, but you also have the return of Terrell Suggs, which has this stadium electrified. I'm told that Suggs was the one who addressed the team last night in the Cardinals team meeting. He said, don't make it about me. Let's just go out and win this game. Guys, this is the first time ever the Ravens have had a home opener where neither Ray Lewis or Terrell Suggs was on a roster.
Yeah, it's strange. A little bit of a new era here defensively in Baltimore, CC.
Yeah, but when you walk in the front door at their practice facility called the Castle, they let you know Steve Bisciotti, a great owner here. It's about defense. Has always been about defense. And from an offensive standpoint, they're one of the few teams that try to match that physicality of the defense with the offense that they're running.
There's Cliff Kingsbury. Speaking of an offense that somebody is trying to run, it was not good those first three quarters last week, but they got things settled down. He said, look, I was a little too cute early in that game. And then on the other side, John Harbaugh.
I like as a young coach taking responsibility for his team not playing well the first three quarters.
And it will be Kingsbury's team receiving as that goes into the end zone for a touchback. So the first road test for the #1 overall pick, wearing #1, Kyler Murray, and we'll see how he responds. He was good late in the game last week.
They start figuring out what Detroit was trying to do, but you and I watching the film together, you could see Detroit was not prepared for that no huddle and the number of plays. They were gassed at the end of that game, couldn't rush the passer.
And Larry Fitzgerald told us that. He said he could hear the guys in the secondary breathing heavily at the end of that game. He's going to throw. Here comes that pressure. But the speedy Kyler Murray escapes it and steps out of bounds. That's what he can do. Let's take a look at the lineups. Offensively, Arizona, we know the woes that they had last year. Justin Murray, his second start at right tackle. But how about David Johnson? They're going to need him today.
You have to have David Johnson more involved in the run game to create some balance. And you don't want teams to know that you're predictable. When you move David Johnson out to the numbers, it's hard for him to be a running threat out there.
Kyler Murray 7 yards on first down. Now it is David Johnson right near the line to gain as he's tackled at the 35. And they will say first down. So we saw what Murray could do with his legs on the first play, and then he hands it off to the man in the backfield.
Yeah, they have to create some balance. Last week didn't have the type of balance. They're already off to a better start. First possession, 2 plays, getting a first down, so they get more looks at that defense.
Fitzgerald in motion. And it's going to be Fitzgerald again. But he can't make a miss. Boy, a really nice stop that time by Brandon Carr, the corner, making his 178th career start as we get a look at this talented Baltimore defense.
Talented defense, but Brandon Carr is one of the most underrated guys we have in the secondary. You mentioned that long streak he has. It dwarfs any other consecutive streak of any other defensive player and rivals the great quarterbacks that we've had playing this game. It's a tribute to his professionalism and underrated, a tremendous, tremendous athlete.
No gain on first down, 2nd and 10. Murray. Another underneath pass to Johnson. Just no room to roam as that Baltimore defense swarms. There's Patrick Owasso, that talented Mike linebacker. He's the new man in the middle.
Oh, man, he is. And Ray Lewis, a good friend of mine. Man, he loves Baltimore. If you're going to be the middle linebacker in Baltimore, you better be about the business of Ray Lewis and how they played great defense for over 20 years with this franchise, Brandon.
Of course, they had Ray Lewis, then C.J. Mosley, who's now with the Jets, and Owasso stepping in nicely. 3rd and 10. Slings it sidearm, shy of the first down marker. Needed to get to the 45 and got to about the 44. On the catch by Michael Crabtree. First game in a Cardinal uniform.
Yes, talking to Coach Jerry Sullivan. He's glad to have Crabtree. Him and Larry Fitzgerald, they bring some stability, and also veteran wide receivers. They're going to get to their depth. They help a young quarterback with his decision-making.
But that time not able to get the first. So Crabtree and the offense off. And the punter, Andy Lee, boots it away. Cyrus Jones lets it bounce and checks up nicely. Good result for Andy Lee. So we've seen Kyler Murray. Next up, the other Heisman winner, Lamar Jackson. First opportunity on offense for Lamar Jackson in Baltimore's offense a week ago. We know what he did, AFC Offensive Player of the Week.
Tremendous week, but also the coaching staff just talked about how diligent he was this offseason, getting with his wide receiver. He wants to be a pure drop back. We know he's a great athlete, but every day he trains as if Drew Brees was coaching him up, Tom Brady were coaching him up. So that's what we should see more of week in and week out from Lamar.
Perfect passer rating last week in that victory against Miami, where they set all those offensive franchise records. And he's going to throw here on first down from his own end zone. What a ball right into the hands of Nick Boyle. He used those tight ends a ton last week, and he starts out going to one of them right here.
A lot of times it's hard to tell if the coaching staff is actually telling you the truth. But you can see on the first drive of game number 2, I'm going to drop this young quarterback straight back in the end zone. Worst place to be able to throw the ball. Good start for Greg Roman in this offense.
14 yards and a quick first down. But between Boyle, Hurst, and Andrews, the 3 tight ends, 14 receptions last week. First look for Ingram. And a short gain, maybe a yard, if that. Here's the Baltimore starters on the offensive side coming off that franchise record week.
Mark Ingram, they added Mark Ingram in the offseason. He's going to add a tremendous punch. We saw the big run, the first run in the Miami game. The staff thinks this is only the beginning. Also, he has the type of characteristics they love in veteran players. Hardworking, good mentor to the other young players on the roster.
You mentioned that first run last week, 49 yards. The first carry here for him, just 1 to make it 2nd and 9. Empty set for Lamar Jackson. Plenty of time, pitch and catch. And out near the 40-yard line. And guess who? Hollywood Brown, the emerging star in just his 2nd week in the league.
You can see Hollywood right there. He's going to line up deep outside. He's not just a speed receiver. They believe he can run any route in the route tree, a deep end. They got the tight end clearing down the middle. Great football concept by having the tight end clear for the speed receiver. When you start looking at guys like him, look at Deshaun Jackson in Philadelphia with a long career. Look at Tyreek Hill in Kansas City. This coaching staff is trying to mirror his skill set with what they do.
18-yard gain, another first down. This time a keeper. Jackson around the edge. And into Cardinal territory before he's escorted out of bounds by the safety DJ Swearinger.
Lamar Jackson, this inside zone read, especially when you have Mark Ingram back there, he's been such a threat to run the ball between the tackles. We felt in watching them practice and talking with them, Lamar was going to run a lot more than he did week number 1 in Miami.
And it shows right there. Everybody knows what he did toward the end of last year, but those are the runs he can make.
He's a tremendous athlete who happens to play quarterback. But every single day, he's going to beat the defense based on what they do. If they give up the edges like on that play, he's going to continue to keep it.
Play clock down, snapped at 1. Hollywood Brown trying to stay in, and he does. A tiptoe catch for the rookie.
Hollywood Brown trying to be a complete receiver. You see the defense deep off of him. I remember once we got Randy Moss, he had that type of speed. You got to throw some quick outs to him to be able to bring that defense up. I like how they're building his little resume. Last week, a deep threat, ran some quick slants. Today, we go to deep end. Now a quick out, Brandon.
2 catches for him. His first 2 grabs last week, 47 yards and 83 yards, both touchdowns against Miami. They go to him here again, so 3 catches. A little shake and bake from Hollywood. As we look at the starters on that Arizona defense, you got to watch out for Chandler Jones and Terrell Suggs rushing in the backfield.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they are great game wreckers. Greg Roman talked about when he used to walk past Terrell Suggs and be like, hey, game wrecker. Didn't even call him by his name. Didn't call him by his nickname, Sizzle, but game wrecker was his name. Their game plan is heavy on the outside 2 guys. Chandler Jones and Terrell Suggs can take over this game if Baltimore lets it.
Makes a swing out and goes deep. Caught inside the 5 and into the end zone goes the tight end Mark Andrews for a 27-yard touchdown reception.
We got the tight end right there on the screen. He's going to slip out, act like he's going to block. And this is a prime example of Saturday football coming to Sunday. It's a play that Oklahoma runs a lot. You fake the bubble screen to an elite athlete. You slip up the guy who's supposed to be the blocker down the rail. Man, we're going to see more of this. Not only going to see more mobile quarterbacks, but we're going to see some of the things that work when you're working on Saturdays over on this Sunday, what we call NFL Sundays.
Well, for Baltimore's offense, that was a continuation of Week 1 in Miami. Lamar Jackson, perfect on the first drive. And Andrews with his second touchdown of the young season. Baltimore up early. A very efficient 7-play, 94-yard drive. And how about Lamar Jackson, 5 of 5?
Oh, it's amazing what this coaching staff, what they're doing. They always talk about this offseason, him working on his drops, working on his throwing motion. And we could even see in Friday's practice, he had an incompletion. He slams his helmet down, not in a way that you're like, wow, that's not uncalled for, but he's taking this passing game serious. He wants to be one of the best that's ever played the game passing.
Here's Jameer Byrd. He'll get it out across the 20. Kyler Murray, career timeline. What a high school career in Allen, Texas. 43-0. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. 2015, Texas A&M. Then the transfer to Oklahoma in December of 2015. And of course, yeah, he knows how to play baseball. 9th overall pick, but it was football that won his heart.
Yeah, because his dad, former quarterback at Texas A&M. I played against him at Ohio State my last game there. I thought that he would be a quality pro quarterback. Didn't necessarily get that opportunity to be able to live out his dream, but man, living through his son.
When you played his dad, Kevin, in the Cotton Bowl, by the way, need to mention your Buckeyes won that 28-12.
Yeah, it was a good send-off into my pro career.
Bucks colleague Chris Spielman also had a pick 6 in that game. Murray's second drive running for his life, and he's just going to chuck it out of bounds. We knew that Baltimore would probably apply a lot of pressure. Murray hasn't been able to get set in that pocket.
Yeah, they're not going to allow him to be comfortable. The first run that he made, they lost contain. So be strict on your principles. Make sure you stay on his upfield shoulder. Don't let him get outside. As you can see, they're more fundamentally sound than the play earlier where he was able to spin out and get outside the contain.
David Johnson trying to cut back inside. There's just not much room there. Going to bring up 3rd down and 8. Marlon Humphrey credited with a tackle. 3rd-year man out of Alabama who had the interception last week.
The Baltimore Ravens, their former general manager, Ozzie Newsome, he's still working with the team. Graduating play for Alabama. They got a lot of Alabama players on this roster. Washington Redskins got a lot of Alabama players. Pretty good start.
Yeah.
If you get one of Nick Saban's kids.
Early snap. Murray wasn't ready for it, and he just has to jump on it. It is loud at M&T Bank Stadium, and all the rookie could do was jump on the pigskin, and Cliff Kingsbury's crew will have to punt.
Kyler wasn't ready for the snap on that one, trying to look at the receivers, trying to get a read of what the coverage is. This offense is based on coverage. They're going to throw to one side of its man, the other side of its zone.
That's a veteran center in A.Q. Shipley. But Murray was not ready for that at all. And the punt hits right across at the 35, and a flag comes in as well. Cyrus Jones was back to return it.
Cyrus Jones, another Alabama guy.
They're all over the place.
Man, they're all over the place.
A lot of Oklahoma kids out here today as well, as you hit on earlier.
Kick catching interference by the kicking team, number 28. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Baltimore's ball, first down. Time out.
on Charles Washington. Not the start that Kyler Murray in Arizona was hoping for. Last year, 7 starts in the regular season, 6 passing touchdowns. He hasn't even played 5 quarters this year, CC. He already has 6.
Already the most improved player in the NFL. And the coaching staff, Coach Harbaugh, talked about how hard he went at it this offseason. He's committed to being a pocket passer, wants to deliver the ball from the pocket, who just happens to also run a 4.3.
Nice luxury to have. Because of that Arizona penalty, Baltimore starts at midfield. Ingram up the gut. 2 yards as we go to Carissa Thompson in LA for a game break.
Thank you so much, Brandon. So Bengals trailing 7-0. Andy Dalton finds Tyler Eifert for this 1-yard score. We are all tied up at 7 apiece. Brandon?
Thank you, Carissa. 7-0 here. Baltimore looking strong in the early going. Jackson on 2nd and 8. Good pass out to the right. It'll be 3rd and short. Another catch for Hollywood Brown. Let's look back at marvelous Lamar Jackson from last week. I mean, that just says the story. It was all passing a week ago.
It was all passing. They decided we're going to put 8 people in the box, 7 people minimum. We're going to play limited pass coverage and leave the center of the field open. Today, we see soft coverage, so he's throwing the ball in front of him.
First 3rd down this Baltimore offense has faced today. Keeping it. Jackson not going to get there. So now you're kind of in no man's land as he's tackled back at the 43.
If I'm Harbaugh, I believe in my defense. I'm going to go for it. You got the home crowd. You got the home opener. Even if I don't get it, I believe my defense, because they have to get 3 first downs to get them in scoring positions. Right here, just the mentality. How are we going to play this season? Are we going to be aggressive? Because they believe that they're one of the sleeper teams in the NFL. So right now the coach has a chance to send a message to the rest of the team. I'm going to remain aggressive the way I told you before the game.
And the 12th-year head coach does keep the offense out there. Jackson rolling right, throwing, and over the head, well over the head of Marquise Brown. So they rolled the dice, but the Cardinal defense holds. Try to work out of this 7-0 hole when we get back. Welcome back to M&T Bank Stadium. First time these 2 teams have met since 2015. Kyler Murray trying to dig Arizona out of a 7-0 hole. What have you thought of his performance so far?
Well, he hasn't had many opportunities. If you give him some open throwing lanes, he has an unusual arm strength for a guy at that size. He's unbelievably accurate. Lincoln Riley has developed 2 of the most active quarterbacks I've seen in recent history. Baker Mayfield last year, and now Kyler Murray.
A confident young man, the 22-year-old rookie quarterback. Quick pass out left. That's a good guy to go to. Larry Fitzgerald had 8 catches last week, 2 so far here today.
Oh, this is one of Larry's patented routes. He knows that the DB has inside leverage on him. Brandon Carr, he snaps off a little option route to the outside. Let's get the quarterback going. Let's get him an easy throw. Last week, that's how they got this offense down the field started. Larry helping out the young quarterback.
Yeah, because 7 of Larry's 8 catches came in the second half. He was the main go-to guy late in that comeback. Needing 2 yards here. Wow, what a catch by Fitzgerald. Little stick him on the glove to reel it in and pick up the first.
That's like the old Raiders in the 70s with the stick 'em on it. Larry typically is a left-handed dominant, but his right hand is just as good. I believe the best hands in the NFL the last 16 years he's been playing. Couldn't be more proud. He's a kid I've been mentoring since he was 11 years old. His dad was a beat writer up there in Minneapolis.
They call you Uncle Chris. This time they're not going for Fitzgerald. They're going for Christian Kirk. And the 2nd-year man out of Texas A&M takes him into the red zone.
They run a little post corner. They're going to run a snatch route to be able to snatch that corner right there and we'll throw the corner behind them. Nice combination. Great throw by Kyler reading out the defense.
Beat the coverage of Marlon Murphy. Now Arizona's in business. David Johnson trying to slip through the right side. Gets down just shy of the 10.
That tempo that the Cardinals are playing at, and speaking with the coach last night, what they're trying to do is play with the tempo a lot like college. They realize the 47-man roster in the NFL, guys get winded. Larry talks about how Detroit, the DBs were winded. You can hear them breathing in the secondary late in the game and in overtime. They're going to try to do the same thing to Baltimore today, Brandon.
Damiere Byrd in motion. They flip it out to Byrd. Down around the 5. We continue to see a lot of pre-snap movement from Arizona as expected.
Pre-snap movement and throwing the ball sideline to sideline. They know they can't play this game in the phone booth. That's what Baltimore wants to do. So they talked about throwing the ball on the left sideline, coming back, either running it to the right to keep those big guys moving across the field, hoping it pays dividends after 2 hours.
Faking the handoff. Murray. Nothing. Just gets rid of it. Pressure was coming by Marlon Humphrey. And that'll bring up 4th and 1.
Baltimore got away with the hold on that one. Got to be able to take the points in this situation. Offense struggled all of the first 3 quarters of last week's game. This game is very tight. Baltimore takes a chance close to midfield. You stop them. You got to be able to make them pay. Young team, get some points on the board. First game on the road. Be able to gain back some of that momentum that the Ravens had throughout the first quarter.
Last week, it took them to the 4th quarter to get in the end zone. They only had 2 field goals from Zane Gonzalez in the first 3 quarters. And it's Zane Gonzalez putting him on the board here with 2:18 to go in the first. And we will be right back after this message from State Farm. So Cliff Kingsbury does opt to take the points, makes it 7-3.
A lot better start than they had in week number 1. That's what they wanted to accomplish. Kyler had one opportunity for a big play. He scrambles out when they get pressure. Thompson loses contain. And also when they put pressure on him, he's not selling for the sack. Last week he made a couple bad decisions, taking sacks, and tried to throw the ball away. End up throwing an interception, giving Detroit a short field to be able to operate on.
Also had a lot of balls batted down last week. Now he hasn't thrown it downfield a lot, but no batted passes yet.
That was one thing going into the draft that we were shocked with the information. At Oklahoma last year, only 5 balls batted down, but had 3 batted down the first half against Detroit.
So now Lamar Jackson coming back out 6 of 7, 80 yards and a touchdown so far, along with 2 rushes for 18.
After talking with Lamar the last couple days, I can guarantee you right now he's even upset at this, because he should be 7 for 7. He had Hollywood Brown on a switch route down the sideline, throws it a little bit high. What I want to watch for Lamar when he's on the move, what I was able to see in watching the film is he has a tendency when he's on the move to miss high. In that one, he was on the move to the right. He missed high. So let's just watch it as it plays out throughout the game.
Takes the give. All kinds of time in the pocket. A little too far for Hollywood Brown. But man, he is targeting the rookie early and often.
This is a route typically you like to do cross count. He's going to do this and come all the way across the formation, have a little play action fake. You think the safeties are going to be back deep, suck the linebackers up and try to fit it in that void. Needs a little bit more touch on this one, but I like the way they're attacking the defense.
Trying to attack here on 2nd and 10. Jackson can't escape. Cassius Marsh got a hand on him, and it was enough to disrupt. The flag is down.
We always talk about Terrell Suggs. We always talk about Chandler Jones, but you can believe Cassius, he's going to be in there. Tremendous athlete, can come off the edge. You won't find a team that has the quality 3 rushers that Arizona has to be able to bring off the outside.
Offense, number 78. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is 3rd down.
That was on Orlando Brown over on the right side. But Cassius Marsh, you were talking to him before the game. That's a dangerous looking man down there on the field.
Brandon was like, who is that guy? That's Cassius Marsh, man.
He came
looks
out
the
with
part.
a cut-off shirt, tattoo sleeves. Big man. What a pass, but it's dropped. Could not hang on.
Fumble.
Are they going to call it a fumble? Yes, they will say that Andrews had it and then lost it. And now they're trying to get up to the line quickly. And they do get it snapped, no. As the red challenge flag comes from the Arizona sideline.
Brandon, I happen to be on the council that Roger Goodell and Troy Vincent and the whole league.
Has challenged the ruling in the field of a catch followed by a fumble recovered by the fumbling player. We will review the play.
When they decided to catch.
They're going to take a look. We step aside. We'll get the verdict in a moment. And they do confirm that this is a catch, so it stands.
Of course, catch, 2 feet down, and something. A football move or something, and you get that. DJ Swearinger, anywhere you're on that field, he is going to hit you. He makes the big contact there. Cover 2. Lamar makes a great read. Looks the safety off to the right. When cover 2, all you need to do is get the ball over that Mike linebacker. The weakness in that defense is deep down the middle, and he found it.
Good job by Andrews to pounce on his own fumble. Patrick Ricard in motion. Ingram with some space. Down inside the 40. Good run by Ingram, picks up 16.
This is what he brings to Baltimore. You're talking about an inside runner. Keep up that physicality of the organization, what they play on the defensive side. I would be shocked if he doesn't have 1,200 yards this year. He's the best running back that the Ravens have had on their roster since they lost the services of Ray Rice.
Lamar Jackson said, this guy runs like a rookie. He's got incredible legs and get-go right now at this stage in his career at 29. Off the fake, Jackson's going to keep. Getting down near the 20 before he steps out, escorted by DJ Swearinger. This Baltimore offense continues to clip.
Greg Roman is mirroring all these plays together. They've run a fold lead, which they fake the fold lead, now he keeps it. When you run an offense, you run plays earlier to be able to set it up. Lamar is doing exactly what the coaching staff wants him to do. We're going to be physical, and every once in a while I want you to pull it out there to keep the defense honest. You told me before the game you thought he was going to run a whole bunch more than what he did last week in Miami.
We have seen that back-to-back 16-yard plays. Ingram, after sitting out the previous play, but that Arizona run defense stout, led by Jordan Hicks. And that'll wind us down to the end of the first quarter. 7-3 Baltimore. Lamar Jackson started off sizzling with that opening drive. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a break from your local Fox station. Going to the second quarter, Lamar Jackson battling with a little jersey malfunction because of what Cassius Marsh did on this sack, where he ripped him by the shoulder pad.
I hate when stuff happens. I used to be a high school coach, used to be a little league coach, because right now I guarantee you there's people down in Pompano Beach running around with their shirt ripped like it's a cape.
Yeah, that was a return home for him last week down there in Miami.
They were amazed. All the little league kids were out there with their uniforms on, him in Hollywood.
2nd and 11 for the Florida native, and the pass is deflected and almost intercepted. Swearinger came up after Reddick got a hand on it and nearly picked it.
They were trying to run the halfback down the seam. They were trying to run 3 deep and slip the halfback about 18 yards down the hash mark. One of the defenders gets out in zone coverage, puts a tip on it, which they almost made a play on the ball. But good read by Lamar, trying to pierce the defense. Needed just a little more arc on that one, and that would have been another huge completion.
Strike 58.
8th play of the drive. Going back to Andrews, his 3rd catch. He had a career-high 8 catches last week, 3 for over 60 yards now.
Bobby Ingram, their tight end coach, is really happy how he's developed out of college. He came in as a receiving tight end from Oklahoma. People question his overall toughness. Bobby said he's more than tough. He said he's got 3 tight ends. They're like triplets. I saw him and one of the defensive tackles in an argument, and the other 2 came up behind him.
The only bad news, Andrews stopped 3 yards shy of the marker. So
this is your guy here, though.
Justin Tucker, most accurate kicker in NFL history. From 33, no problem. That's a walk in the park for number 9. WWE Friday Night SmackDown moving to Fox October 4th. And here's some breaking news. The WWE Draft will take place live on Friday Night SmackDown October 11th right here on Fox. The draft will continue the following Monday on Raw on USA. One of the biggest events for WWE where the destiny of all the superstars is determined. Again, that's Friday, October 11th right here on Fox.
Oh, man, I'm a huge SmackDown fan. And we had the champion on our show. First things first. Day after receiving the crown, we had him there. So welcome to the Fox family.
And you can talk anything. You can go football. You can go wrestling. We're talking baseball yesterday.
Well, if Eric Shanks at Fox Sports buys it, I will talk about it.
Lamar Jackson getting a breather. Kyler Murray getting ready for his next drive, talking with Cliff Kingsbury. Damiere Byrd back deep for the Cardinals. Byrd dragged down shy of the 15. All right, we saw David Johnson go off earlier. Peter, what do you have on that?
It's not great news for the Cardinals. David Johnson walks off. It's a wrist injury. The word is that he's questionable to return. They're going to have to rely on other guys out of the backfield right now.
He had a significant wrist injury a couple years ago, so I hope it's not the same injury. This is not the same franchise without him, and they planned on giving him a heavy dose to be able to have some balance so you couldn't just tee off on Kyler in the passing game.
And that means a big load for that guy, Chase Edmonds, a second-year man. Only got 1 carry a week ago, but obviously figuring to get more action here as he splits out left. Pressure off the edge, and they go right to Edmonds as he stretches it out shy of the 20.
He did have a great training camp, had a good offseason. They thought in the first game, uncharacteristic of them, they thought they were going to be able to mix it. Him and David Johnson, they thought they'd be on the play about 30 plays. He didn't necessarily get the snaps based on the flow of the game and how they got behind.
5 yards on first down. Good pass. Over the middle, first down, and then some. Christian Kirk walking it out of bounds around the 45. As Murray found the window over the middle.
Christian Kirk's going to come up and run a basic across the middle here. He's going to be the primary inside receiver when it's not Larry Fitzgerald. They like his ability to be able to run any type of route, his ability to be able to get in and out of the catch, in and out of the break. But you can see with Kyler, man, he's got a strong arm throwing down the middle.
But here he's going down. Brought to the ground by Matthew Judon, the first to get there.
This guy right here has got a tough job in Justin Murphy. An offensive tackle, once you get your shoulders turned, it becomes almost defenseless to be able to keep that defender. You got to try to keep your shoulders square. He's filling in for the injured Marcus Gilbert. Did a good job in last week's game, but gives up a sack on that play.
Judon, 7 sacks last year, said he wants to double that this season. A good start. He had 1 last week and now 1 here. 2nd 16. Damiere Byrd trying to get back to the original line of scrimmage, and that'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Man, they got a guy playing both ways, 42. He's a fullback. In the last series, he plays linebacker. What's Harbaugh doing? We're going back to the 50s?
And Patrick Ricard, he can move pretty well for 6'3", 311. That one right near the line to gain, but about a yard short. He returns it to Damiere Byrd, but he could not get to the marker. Another decision here for Arizona, 4th and 1.
Looks like they're going to go for it. They want to play speed ball, try to go quick.
Let's see what they do. It's a keeper, and Murray's going to get it. As whistles come in here at the end. A timeout.
Before the ball was snapped, Arizona called in second charge timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
So cancel that first down, at least for the time being.
set the game clock at
As
12
we
minutes,
go to Kurt
60
Menefee
seconds,
at Fox in LA for a game break.
All right, Brandon, down 21-0, less than a minute in the second quarter. The Vikings show a little bit of life against the Packers. Dalvin Cook helps out 75 yards in this touchdown run. Look at that speed. They're still down by 14, but at least it's a game now. Welcome to Fox, by the way, Brandon.
Thank you very much, Kurt. Appreciate it. So here's the timeout, and maybe Cliff Kingsbury wishing he hadn't called this timeout now.
Definitely not. And that's what, when you have a young coach and a young quarterback, they're not going to be in sync all the time. Typically, our veteran quarterbacks, they run a drill like that, and they have command over it. Cliff thought he wasn't comfortable with it. Maybe the defense to look, because they had the linebackers up in the line of scrimmage.
Little miscommunication going on right now.
They're in cover zero, all-out blitz. No one in center field.
Here they come. Quick throw, and Bird, if he could have escaped, would have gone to the end zone, but a shoestring tackle that time by Anthony Averett.
Great job by Arizona. They run a zero route, which the guy's going to take 0 steps and immediately go on the slant because it allows you to throw it before the blitz gets there.
That Arizona offense moving quick. Kirk down to the 38, dropped by Brandon Carr. 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6. Christian Kirk was in the same class originally at Texas A&M as Kyler Murray, and now they're back in the NFL together. Quick speed to the right here from Murray, but nowhere to go. Baltimore wasn't fooled.
I think the more games Kyler Murray plays in the league, NFL defenses are going to realize he really don't want to run the ball. He wants to be a pocket passer. He wants to be a quarterback. But that hitting and that contact, just in talking to people around Arizona, talking to Kyler, he feels about contact the way Drew Brees and Tom Brady and them do. Just because he's fast doesn't mean that he wants to run, Brandon.
Saw David Johnson back on the sideline nursing that wrist injury. So after the loss of 3, it's 3rd and 9. Murray off his back foot. Just heaves it up, and it's caught. Keyshawn Johnson adjusting and making his first reception of the afternoon. 27 yards there.
You got Keyshawn on the outside here. He's going to run a straight go route. Pressure on the quarterback, so he puts it up 50-50 ball to give his receiver. He goes up and get that one like another Keyshawn Johnson I know.
But that's not your father's Keyshawn Johnson.
No, that's not your father's Keyshawn, but every wide receiver is the same theory. Throw me the damn ball.
Caught it over Brandon Carr, the talented 12th-year corner. First and goal. Edmonds churning those legs down to the 8. There's just not a lot of room to run inside on that Baltimore defense.
No, they play that 34. They got a guy over the nose, a space eater. In the program, it might say 320. But I saw him yesterday look a little bit more than that. Those 2 defensive tackles, they play defense. You're not going to be able to run them. You haven't been able to run in Baltimore since they brought the franchise back here.
Just annually always in the top 5. They were the #1 overall defense a season ago. Movement. False start.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
And that's Justin Murray making just his 2nd ever start.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're talking about a tough job. Last week, not as tough. Detroit, their lineman got winded. And the coaching staff said he did a remarkable job being rushed in. Marcus Gilbert, who they go get from the Pittsburgh Steelers, is a veteran right tackle. He gets injured, so Justin gets pressed into duty. Off to a tough start so far, giving up a sack, and that a big penalty inside the red zone.
Backs him to the 13, quick screen. Inside the 10, and spinning Chase Edmonds all the way down inside the 5 to the 3.
They run a little jailbreak screen here. They're going to let the linemen inside of them, but all the linemen are going to go out and kick out. The running back or wide receiver is going to try to cut in and then try to get back outside. A lot of that Saturday football that you love still here on Sunday. Good call. You're going to get the ball inside the 5.
3rd and goal from the 3. Murray looking for Fitzgerald. No, and no flags. Coverage by Brandon Carr.
That's a good matchup right there. 2 veterans. Brandon Carr in great coverage here. He gets an outside shade on Larry. Larry likes to go to that back pylon, and you know he can catch it with one hand, so you have to be able to get on his upfield shoulder and not let him get turned. Great job by Baltimore getting off the field, holding them to another field goal attempt.
Kyler wanted to see the yellow flag, but to no avail. So they settled for a short field goal earlier from Zane Gonzalez, and now he'll try again. Hit from 22, and now he connects from 21. The Cardinals 2 red zone trips, but no times to pay dirt. How about 4 Heisman Trophy winners in this game today? Mark Ingram, Robert Griffin III, the backup for this man, Lamar Jackson, and then, of course, Kyler Murray, the #1 overall pick.
Not often you get to see the prestigious winners, 4 of them on the field at one time.
First time since the late 90s, in fact, that has happened in the National Football League as Justice Hill takes it across the 25, and we got a flag down. Ardeck with a tackle. We'll see what the laundry's about. Referee Ron Torbert, who's been in the league since 2010.
During the return, holding number 36 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Baltimore's ball, first down.
Let's go down to Peter.
Brandon, you'd think these 2 quarterbacks, both young, both Heisman winners, both went through the draft process with a lot of people, critics and cynics on their abilities, would know each other, but they told us they did not know each other. Kyler Murray says he's never met Lamar Jackson. He's rooting for Lamar. Of course, he's got all these Oklahoma guys on the Ravens, but at no point have their paths crossed. This is a situation where they're going to play today. They're going to meet after the game, and I'm sure they'll be friends for a long time.
And they've been good so far, combined 23 of 29 today. Faking the handoff. Jackson's just going to tuck it and step out near the 20. It was interesting, though. I figured at some point these two would have met at some type of a dinner or function, but they had not.
Well, both of them been in transition. And Lamar transitioned from Louisville to the NFL. That first offseason, you're so busy working out for teams and everything. He gets drafted by Baltimore. Kyler's just getting comfortable there in Oklahoma after making the switch and transferring. So not that surprising, but I'm sure this will be first of many meetings, not only on the field, but I'm sure they'll do some things off the field.
And you could tell the mutual respect in meeting with both of them that they had for the other. Jackson again with a clean pocket and a little high over the head of Andrews, and then try to dive to get it. Hollywood Brown, neither could grab it.
Yeah, a little miscommunication there. Andrews was either too deep or Hollywood Brown was either too shallow. Anytime you see two receivers that close to each other down the field, I thought Lamar, based on the arm angle, was trying to throw to the crosser into Andrews.
1 and 3, 1 of 3 on third downs today. 3rd and 4. Arizona rushing just 4. Jackson nowhere to go. Going to use his legs, and he picks it up. 5 carries, 45 yards so far for Lamar Jackson.
Lamar scanning the field. Doesn't want to throw the ball in the coverage, waiting for a guy to get open. Great coverage by Arizona. And he just takes it on his own. This is the growth from last year in the playoffs, late in the season when he was the starter, compared to this year's version of it. He's far more patient, far more waiting for things to develop down the field. If you force him to run, as we can see, he converts that.
Jackson keeps around the left side. Yep, he's using his legs a lot more this week. and it's pretty effective. Give him 18 that time.
It's almost impossible to defend. When they fake the lead into the line of scrimmage, especially with Mark Ingram, those ends are crashing down the outside. Lamar's doing a great job. Every time they crash, turn their shoulders, he's going to keep it and get easy yards on the outside. And if they're going to give it to him, Brandon, he's going to take the runs.
You hit on this earlier, but he said, my goodness, the game has slowed down for me so much now in this second season. This time in the air. Going back to the tight end, Mark Andrews. Boy, does he look like he's poised for a big season. He's fired up. 25 yards on the play.
I remember they used to throw the ball to Todd Heap. He was a big target. They got another big target. He's taken over the middle of the field, and he's going to be their #1 receiver as Hollywood develops. Hollywood's on a pitch count. He's got that Liz Frank injury from college he's still recovering from.
Jackson again. This time out of the backfield, it's Mark Ingram going down the sideline for the catch before he's tackled by DJ Swearinger. Another chunk play, CC, 20 yards.
Mark Ingram comes over from New Orleans as a free agent. Anyone coming from New Orleans, an offensive player, you know they're a good receiver with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. Great read by the quarterback, sticking it in that tight window in cover 2. The corner takes the flat, he sticks it in behind him.
And Mark Ingram is in some pain.
No, he took a kidney shot there.
So he is on the sideline. Carry there for Lamar Jackson. So we already have David Johnson out on the side of Arizona, and now Ingram just writhing on the ground. Watch him. Looked like he was okay, and then he just went down.
That's what you call the aftershock. A guy hits you, you take 3 or 4 steps and realize, oh, I can't proceed any further. Mark's a tough guy, too. That was a good shot he took right there.
Ingram's still down. Now they're trying to get him up. Second and 8. Flipping it to Justice Hill. He reaches out, and he's going to be short. Didn't make it to the end zone, but a great effort by the rookie out of Oklahoma State.
Another one, the staple throws they're going to have in this offense. Lamar drops down, goes sidearm. They have the action where the back is going opposite. He reverse pivots, gives him an easy throw to his right. He takes advantage of it. This offense in Greg Roman, if you ask me, what are they going to do? They're going to take what the defense gives. They can be a sledgehammer. They can get on the on the perimeter with Lamar running. Got a lot more speed to this offense than they had last year, too.
Didn't get the touchdown, Justice Hill, but he got the first down. So first and goal for Baltimore. And a timeout.
Baltimore's called its first charge, timeout of the half. 30 seconds.
So 10-6, Baltimore had the great start offensively in that first drive. Now they're settling in, trying to add to that lead.
And they're doing a number of things. If I'm the defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph, Arizona, I don't know what to do. Do I put more guys in the box because they're throwing it, they're running it, the versatility? The quarterback, when he doesn't have anything down the field, he's deciding to pull it down. There's no defense for that. Very impressed with how Baltimore is going about running their offense in this first half of football.
But truly, and you used the sledgehammer analogy, but Greg Roman said, look, we can be a Swiss Army knife. We can change week to week.
Yes.
And we are seeing that on full display here this afternoon. Terrell Suggs back home. And his Arizona defense have to bow their neck here a bit.
Sit up! 180! Press up!
Edwards, no, it's going to be a keeper for Jackson, and an easy pitch and catch to Hayden Hurst. So the tight end Andrews had the first touchdown grab of the day, and now the other tight end Hayden Hurst gets in here.
Last week's productivity, we blamed it on Miami. Miami's tanking. They weren't ready for the game, but at some point we got to give Baltimore credit for evolving this offense, how they're running. Physical attack. They're going to fake a lead up into the line of scrimmage. Got 3 tight ends on the roster they're very comfortable with. Bobby Ingram, the tight end coach, feels like they're going to make a huge difference in the passing game with having Hollywood on the outside until he gets healthy.
Those three tight ends, they admitted that they've got a little bromance. They do everything together. They get taped together. They eat together.
Yep.
And you can see that camaraderie. Got a flag down on the PAT. For the moment, the try is good. Ron Torbert trying to get it all sorted out. See a little sweat on the brow. We said it's nice, but it is pretty hot down there on the field, as we found out pregame.
Oh, it was hot. Larry Fitzgerald had me wait until he came out so we can get a picture together. I sweated through my undershirt.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the defense. Number 93. Illegal hit on the snapper. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. The extra point is good. Timeout.
15-yard penalty on Clinton McDonald as Hayden Hurst adds to the Baltimore lead. Stockton for voicing that piece, NFL's 100th season. And yeah, that 2000 defense, they were pretty good, weren't they?
Not only in 2000 were they special, but top 10 at either scoring or total defense. 18 of 21 years as a franchise.
Boy, that's incredible. Remember the unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, so now the short field to kick it. He stepped out of bounds. Damiere Byrd, and now a flag comes in here late as well. But Byrd had his left foot out of bounds.
If you catch it out of bounds, that means the ball's out of bounds. He did the smart thing, all right? Because the ball will immediately, they're going to give him, you can't kick the ball out of bounds, but if you receive it out, they immediately deem the ball to be out.
Oh, he stepped out. He tried to get over there at the last second.
There is no foul for an illegal kickoff out of bounds. The receiving team player caught the ball and then stepped out. It's Arizona's ball, first down.
Well, you're right, though, Chris. You see Damiere Byrd trying to get out, but it looks like he did catch it first in the field of play.
Right. Typically, when you're on the hands team or receiving team, the special team coach tells you, get out of bounds first. If you get out of bounds first, if he got that left foot out of bounds, then he could have called it. Then they would have had the penalty on Baltimore for kicking the ball out of bounds. Good call by the referees.
So that means Arizona now starts from their own 6-yard line. And credit Justin Tucker with a nice kickoff there from the 50.
Anytime you get that 15-yard penalty, you should have a directional kick. You shouldn't kick the ball in the end zone and give it to him at the 25-yard line. That's a gift.
David Johnson back on the field for Arizona. Great sign. And he gets it right away. Out to the 10. Tackled by Michael Pierce.
They need a healthy David Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, Arizona, ever since he had that big year a couple years ago, where's that productivity been in the offensive suffrage?
Murray going back to the air, a little too far in front of a diving Larry Fitzgerald.
Fitzy's going to be in the slot. He's got Brandon Carr on him. He's going to try to come up and pause and then shoot in there. They're trying to run the fake bubble screen and then try to slip Larry up the seam. Brandon Carr puts a couple hands on him to slow him down. Good no call there.
Third and 6. Did he haul it in? Woo. Yes, Damiere Byrd, what a catch. Kyler Murray just kind of chucked that off his back foot, and it worked for a first down.
Kyler Murray fits it in a hole. He's got two people pressuring him, one from his right, one from his left. He fits it along that sideline window. No one else can catch that but his wide receiver over his outside shoulder. Great throw by Kyler.
Damiere Byrd, 9 catches already this season, had 12 in 3 years with Carolina, but they're using him here with Arizona. And this time the pass is high for Keyshawn Johnson. As we have a game break, we check in with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Brandon. So Patriots up 7-0 when Tom Brady connects with who? Antonio Brown, wearing number 17. Brown has 4 catches, 56 yards on the day so far. Missed extra point has the Pats up 13-0. Brandon?
And the story continues in New England.
Got one Brown down there in Miami. We got his cousin, Hollywood Brown, here.
Hollywood on the sideline right now watching that Baltimore defense defend here, 2nd and 10. Behind Larry Fitzgerald, nowhere near, no flags, 3rd and 10. Looked like something was off there.
Yeah, it wasn't a clean look for Larry. Larry got jammed in the slot. They were trying to run a double slant. Kyler got a little pressure, was a little high with the throw. Watch Kyler last week. We talked about he struggled throwing the ball over the guards in the center. Those are the times the passes were batted down and when he missed high.
Pocket collapsing, incomplete. Try to get it to Christian Kirk as Murray was taken down to his backside. Matthew Judon getting in there again and disrupting.
Judon in Friday's practice, man, he was everywhere. We knew he was going to be covering the backs a little bit, but what he does special is come off the edge, and as you can see, he continues to get that tackle. Justin Murray's shoulders turn, and he puts immediate pressure on Kyler Murray.
Murray now just 1 for his last 6. Cyrus Jones takes it from the 20. Across the 40. Good return for Jones. So the Ravens will have good field position. Up 14-6. 17-6. Last week it was all about Lamar's arm. This week he's using both arm and legs.
Yeah, they gave us a little warning based on what the defense. We see the defensive ends are crashing down. Chandler Jones, Terrell Suggs. So he's able to get outside the pocket. They've had some great quarterback runs designed. And then also, when he didn't have anything down the field, he was very, very patient, picked the gap, and was able to convert. Those are you'd like to be able to see him run in those situations compared to forcing the run.
You see Mark Ingram is back out to the left of Jackson. Great sign for Baltimore. And right away they go to Ingram. And he stood up shy of the 50, dragging him down Hassan Reddick. Crowd wanted a flag, but there will be none. 2nd and 7.
Hassan Reddick's a good player. Didn't play in last week's game. He gives them the ability of a linebacker. It's a 3-down linebacker. Stout against the run and also very, very good in pass coverage. They need him back on that defense. Glad to be able to get him back in week number 2.
He's still battling that knee injury, trying to get back to 100%. Boyle in motion, movement. Both sides pointing at the other, no surprise there.
Neutral zone infraction, defense, number 98. Penalty. It's 2nd down.
It's on the nose tackle, Corey Peters.
Great voice inflection by Lamar. Drew him offside. We're here in the stadium. Went real quick with a couple little signals there. Gets him to jump offside free. 5 yards for the offense there.
Clock rolls down to the 2-minute warning.
2 minutes remaining in the first half.
Baltimore, huge win last week and up here with 2 to play in the first half, 17-6. Two minutes to go in quarter number 2 here at M&T Bank Stadium. Brandon Gaudin, Chris Carter, Peter Schrager with you as Baltimore trying to add on to their lead here.
Second short, wouldn't be surprised if the coach won't take a shot here.
And it's an inside give. Justice Hill saw him catch one earlier. Now inside the 40. We got a flag down.
Holding. Offense number 78. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
That's the 2nd flag on Orlando Brown.
Another guy from Oklahoma here off the edge. He's going to get a little handsy in that engagement right there. Gets his hands outside the framework of your arms. Anytime that ref sees that right arm outside the shoulder pad, he's going to call. Even if you're not holding it, he's going to call it. Then the back cuts outside. He knows it's a hold game.
Here comes the pressure, and Jackson circled and swung to the ground by big number 98 Corey Peters, bringing 335 pounds of thunder.
Last season we saw in the NFL, we know that they're throwing more, but also the sacks from the defensive tackles were way up. Aaron Donald led the NFL with 20 sacks. more guys from that immediate line to the quarterback. More guys are putting quality defensive tackles who can rush the passer in that interior compared to waiting for rush guys to come off the edge.
Peter's one of the veterans. Vance Joseph says they call him quiet dad in the locker room. He doesn't say much. He lets his play do the talking. He certainly did there. 3rd and 19 now after the sack. And that is a botched snap. Arizona had one of those earlier. And here Baltimore trying to dive on it quickly. Let's get a look.
The motion didn't time up the motion. You have to wait for that tight end to be able to clear.
Arizona's called its 3rd and final charge timeout of the half. 30 seconds in length.
So that hits Andrews as he was crossing. Luckily, Baltimore keeps it, but now it's 4th down. All right, let's go to Kurt Menefee to see what's coming up on the Visa Halftime Report.
Man, what a Visa halftime we've got for you today. We'll have highlights of that big Patriots-Dolphins game, plus the Bills and Giants, and an exclusive interview with Rams head coach Sean McVay as they get ready for that huge rematch with the New Orleans Saints in America's Game of the Week. It's all coming your way when we come back with the Visa halftime.
All right, Kurt, Baltimore's first 3 and out. Arizona, no timeouts remaining as they get the punt here. Fair catch inside the 20 by Christian Kirk. Let's go back to L.A. Game break. Here's Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Brandon. Cowboys, Redskins. Dallas taking advantage of a Redskins penalty. Prescott to who else? Jason Witten. Happy to have him back on the squad. Prescott's second of the day. Cowboys up 14-7. Brandon?
You know, when I see Jason Witten catching touchdown passes, Chris Carter, I think you can catch some touchdown passes still.
Man, Witt's a little bit better than that.
I'm just saying, I saw you down there before the game. You looked like you belonged.
Yeah,
you could throw on the pads still.
A good addition to Dallas. Great leadership in the locker room. Has been a force there in Dallas. For what they need, he was a good pickup.
Getting into the end zone today.
Might go out running, though. We're going to have to book that.
59 seconds, no timeouts for Kyler Murray as he goes with an empty set. Incomplete in the direction of Crabtree. Got a catch early. He's been quiet since.
Great job by safety Tony Jefferson. He's played in Arizona before. He gets in the he's playing a robber coverage. He's watching the eyes of the quarterback. Makes Kyler think that he's going to the defensive right, to the strength, comes back and gets in the way of that quick slant on the outside.
Took just 3 seconds off the clock. If Arizona has a quick 3 and out, remember Baltimore still 2 timeouts left themselves here. Back to the right side, and Kirk able to bring that in despite the traffic across the 40. Great grab in front of Anthony Averett. Here they go in a hurry, and they'll clock it. Murray's saying, hey, what's all that? Now a little pushing inside. Patrick Owasso jumped through, but let's go back to that last grab by Kirk.
Kirk's a good little receiver. Playing in the slot, also has enough speed to be a vertical threat. Kyler, he's not even open on this one. This one, those Warren Moon type throws. Warren said, Chris, most quarterbacks need 6 inches. I need an inch. I'll be able to get it in there to him. Kyler squeezes it in there.
Man, Averett was draped all over it. Again collapses, and he has nowhere to go. Getting in there this time, Pernell McPhee, the veteran in his 9th year, loss of 7.
McPhee, we're going to talk about him an awful lot coming off the edge. Judon on the other side. But also, let's not forget, Patrick Ricard, he was in there. The guy's playing both ways. He plays fullback, plays little tight end. Now he's blitzing Kyler Murray.
Boy, in the offseason, as the clock winds down to zeros, they were worried about this pass rush of Baltimore. I don't think there's much worry right now. Just 2 field goals in the first half for Arizona. Visa halftime. Giants looking to avoid their 6-0-2 start. Miami seeking 6 win in the last 7 home games against New England. And McVay with the exclusive pregame interview. Let's go back. First quarter. Lamar Jackson started off pretty hot.
Great play call off the bubble screen. They're going to fake the bubble screen, get the defense to suck up, slip the tight end down the rail. He throws a strike.
And then another tight end, Hayden Hurst, into the action.
Hurst, they run the tight end fall down play where the tight end blocks a guy inside, falls on the ground, and then uncoils along the goal line, and Kyler finds him again for the second touchdown for the Ravens.
Baltimore 242 yards of offense in the first half. Arizona 196. Arizona had it inside the 10 twice. They just couldn't get it in the end zone.
It becomes awful hard when you have a stout defense like that and you can't run the ball. When you get down in the red zone, you need to be a dual threat. The threat that we can punch it in running, because if not, there's too many bodies to throw to in coverage. They rush 4 people, 7 bodies to throw to is too much to ask for on a regular basis.
Well, it's not the 42 points that Baltimore put up in the first half last week, but they still lead 17-6 over Arizona. Let's go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles now for the Visa halftime report.
Oh, can't stop me now. Oh, can't stop me now. The heavens, where's the crown I'm singing?
That was today's game flow, brought to you by Progressive. First half in the books, about ready for the start of the third quarter. 17-6, Baltimore leading Arizona. And this one over the head of Justice Hill. Brennan Gaudin, Chris Carter back here in the booth with you. So, CC, what did you think? Baltimore got off to the hot start. They still have the lead, but defense kind of became the story.
Defense is always going to be a story in Baltimore. The defense of the Arizona Cardinals, if they're going to be able to get back in this game, win this game, they're going to try to create some turnovers. We saw them down in last week's game. Kyler talked to us about he had never lost a game in high school. He's a winner, and he just wouldn't give up. But that defense in the Cardinals got to be able to help him out with a couple extra possessions.
Right now it's Kyler Murray's counterpoint. Lamar Jackson hitting the first drive here in the second half. Going deep on that first play, but incomplete. Let's check in with Peter.
Brandon just spoke with Cliff Kingsbury, head coach of the Cardinals. He said, last week we're in a similar situation. We're going to tell the guys, we can do this. We've done it already. To which I asked John Harbaugh, Harbs, they came back from 3 scores. Any conversation? Stopped me in the middle and said, that's the last thing on our mind. We're not worried about them at all. We're talking about us dominating this game.
Right now with that 11-point lead. But yeah, Cliff Kingsbury, second game as an NFL head coach. Like, well, I've been here before. I've seen this story.
I'm sure he feels a lot better at halftime in week number 2 than he did in week number 1.
Last week they needed 18 points in the fourth quarter to force overtime in the tie. Dump off underneath to Boyle. Boyle lowers the head, buries his way just short of the first down marker. We have a flag on the other side of the field.
Ineligible players downfield. Offense, number 68 and number 77. That 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the previous spot. Replay second down.
Both the center and left guard downfield. But Lamar Jackson, we discussed this in the first half, really been targeting those tight ends. They've got 3 very, very good ones.
And they also made some staff changes. John Harbaugh moves Bobby Ingram, a good receiver in this league, one of the better wide receiver coaches. I've been knowing him for years through his playing days. He's coaching those tight ends. And we know that they have Hollywood Brown, but until he's able to become a full-time player, their tight ends are their number 1 receiver.
Jackson back to the air. And now he's got to take off. This is what he can do. 25, 30, and across the 30. Great improv by Lamar Jackson.
I love the fact that Lamar is not trying to force it. He has nothing in the pocket. He gets flushed. He does what you're trained as a quarterback to come right back down the barrel of the pocket. Can't find anyone down the field, makes positive yards, gets down before he's able to take a big lick.
And the man who was coming up to stop him was Terrell Suggs.
I mean, he's just growing as a passer. The game's slowing down. You can see him not overreacting to the rush. Sidesteps it, makes a big play.
He's had 4 carries of more than 10 yards as Jackson in this game. And he has to go to a safety valve underneath and then upended Mark Andrews, the tight end, by Hassan Reddick. So 4th down, and Baltimore will have to punt it.
Lamar's going to have to try to find one of the receivers outside of Hollywood Brown. 7 catches to the wide receivers, none to anyone else besides Hollywood.
Yeah, last week Boykin and Snead both had a touchdown reception, but as you said, it's been either all Hollywood or the tight ends. Sam Cook with the end over and punt. Christian Kirk going backwards to try to go forwards, and a flag comes in. That's going to be on Arizona. So hold the phone here. For the moment, Kirk was able to get it out near midfield, but it looks like this is coming back. And Brendan Trawick injured on the play as well.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 54 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down. Timeout.
On Cassius Marsh. 12:48 to go in the third. Ravens by 11. First NFL road game for Kyler Murray, and right now, he and the offense haven't found the end zone yet. They'll get their first drive here in the third quarter, down 17-6. 28 pass, 8 rush from that air raid offense.
Yeah, they told us they wanted a little more balance. Last week, they become one-sided. It's going to be hard to win enough games, win NFL games, but also you put the offensive line in a tremendous stress because there's a lot of one-on-one blocks with them having 4 or 5 people rushing. That offensive line that last year was the worst in pro football.
Here they go to the ground for the 9th rush of the game, and David Johnson will get it out to the 20. You think last week, too, when they went 10 personnel, they did that for 55 snaps with a running back and no tight end. The rest of the NFL combined, 44 snaps.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's just unbelievable. Murray, again off his back foot, and look who he's got. Fitzgerald sliding and grabbing it, popping up and getting into Baltimore territory. Look at the 36-year-old, the man that calls you Uncle Chris. He won't go down. That's a gain of 40.
He's incredible. I don't know what else I can say about him, but he's right here. He slow plays it up the sideline. Kyler is under duress, and he has a strong enough arm that even though there's seepage in the protection, he's able to get enough on the throw. Larry finds a spot in the zone coverage. Deep cover 2 there. Larry makes the big play. That's the kind of play that ignited them last week in the 4th quarter against the Lions.
4 catches, 50 yards for Fitzgerald. Now a return to the ground, and David Johnson is tackled from behind. Pernell McPhee, we saw him get a sack in the first half. Nice tackle there.
One thing with Baltimore, you have to watch out for the stats. Their defensive ends, they haven't come up with a lot of stats because not only do they rush the passer, they are tremendous against the run. All down players, that's what they breed here, that's what they teach, and that's what you're able to see on that first down stop there.
Empty set with a tailback. Edmonds out right. This one over the middle. And caught, going up to grab it, Max Williams. So Kyler Murray does not target the tight ends much, but that time he finds him for 21 yards.
I'd love to see these tight ends get a little more involved. He has a slip release against cover 3. What are the soft spots? Outside the corner, in front of the zone there, up the seam routes on both sides. Kyler finds it on this one.
Flags are down.
12 players.
Yeah, Baltimore
on
got
the defense. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
I like purple. My high school team was purple, the Middletown Middies. Love the Vikings, 12 out of my 16 years there. I thought I saw too many purple pants out there.
And John Harbaugh not happy as that pushes Arizona firmly in the red zone. 1st and 5 for the 15. Murray pumps, rolls underneath. Again, the tight end, this time Charles Clay. So the tight ends didn't have any catches in the first half. Now back-to-back, he goes Williams and then Clay.
You have to get the tight ends involved. The tight ends have been a tremendous weapon all around the National Football League. You can't not utilize them. The defense won't take you serious. Getting Charles Clay involved, he's been a quality tight end receiver throughout his years playing in the league. Kingsbury's got to get the tight ends more involved in the offense. Got to get the running backs more involved in the offense to keep some balance.
Third time Arizona's been inside the 10. No touchdowns yet. And this gets them a little bit closer. A catch by Crabtree, but he's stacked up in a hurry.
Crabtree's on a pitch count. They got him a couple weeks ago. Wasn't ready and conditioned to play in last week's game. They thought he probably played 25 to 30 snaps in this game, talking to Jerry Sullivan. He loves having a veteran wide receiver on the outside. Larry's playing predominantly in the slot.
And remember, Crabtree was in Baltimore last year for a season, so this is an interesting game for him.
Yeah, disappointed. They signed him to a 3-year deal, $9 million. After the first year, they told him bye.
Murray looking end zone. No. In the direction of Fitzgerald, but no shot. Carr on the coverage.
Great job by Baltimore here. They're going to have an in-and-out coverage. Brandon Carr is going to stay on his outside. They tried to fake like they're going to run the slip screen and try to get Larry out to the flat. Tyler makes a big decision. I mean, great decision there by not trying to force it. Throw it away. I still got 3rd and goal. Give my team another opportunity to be able to get that touchdown.
These Baltimore fans coming to life on 3rd and goal. And Cliff Kingsbury is going to burn a timeout.
Yeah, didn't.
First starts, timeout of the half, Arizona, 30 seconds.
Starts Saturday strong this week with a big noon Saturday game of the week. Shea Patterson and the number 10 Michigan Wolverines take on Jonathan Taylor and 14th ranked Wisconsin. All starts with a big noon kickoff pregame show, 11 Eastern on Fox, and you can also catch it on the Fox Sports app. So Cliff Kingsbury takes the timeout. What do you try to do here, 3rd and goal?
Well, the reason why he called a timeout, he had a really odd look. They had everyone at the line of scrimmage, or everyone within 4 or 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Knew he was going to have a soft spot as far as protection. Let me burn a timeout. If I'm Kyler Murray, I want to get on the move. I wouldn't want to sit in the pocket. Those big defensive ends, get one of them hooked, roll out to his left, to the field side, ball's on the right hash, make a play with a guy going the flat. The 2 big plays late, the touchdown to Fitzgerald, pick play, man-to-man in the red zone, and the 2-point conversion to Kirk. Another pick play off to the left side.
Here we go, 3rd and goal. Quick throw. Too far. Trying to get Fitzgerald toward the back pylon. And now 4th down comes up.
It's just going to take some time before Kyler gets in sync with Larry. Anytime you run the fade from the slot, if my guy's in bump, I'm not going to make it to the back pylon. I'm only going to make it probably 4 yards deep in the end zone. He thinks when we run it on air, he's throwing to the back pylon, but no. You have to give time for the wide receiver to be able to get off the release, and that was the miscommunication between him and Larry Fitzgerald. Well, anytime it's Larry and Kyler, you pretty much got to blame it on Kyler.
And now flags come in here before the field goal attempt. We know who you're protecting out there.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
That one was obvious.
Yeah, one guy's got 1,300 catches, the other guy's got 1 start.
12 players on defense. Half the distance to the goal. It's still 4th down.
So still 4th down, but boy, that's the 2nd time they've had 12 men on the field.
Typically, it's always an outside linebacker or a defensive end. This time, Judon, he's on the field, shouldn't be on the field. The last time it was number 90 on the field, shouldn't be on the field. But you can see on the sideline, the coaching staff is not happy. They're going to get that corrected.
But still a field goal attempt So Gonzalez is hit from 22 and 21, and now another chip shot from 21 again. And the same result. He has all 9 Cardinal points. Boy, the Ravens defense, they've been trying to punish Kyler Murray. He was laid down there, and that led to the field goal. Zane Gonzalez made it a 1-possession game with his 3rd field goal, and now he gets set to kick off with 9 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Tell you what, when Baltimore started with that first drive and went 94 yards so efficiently, I thought, oh boy, Arizona's in for a long day, but they have settled in. Justice Hill slipping across the 25, bouncing it outside. And all the way near the 43-yard line. And now there is a flag back at the 22, so hold everything. We might be going in the other direction. As it stands right now, a 39-yard return.
During the return, holding by the return team, number 41. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Baltimore's ball, first down.
On Anthony Levine. Lamar Jackson, you were hitting on this earlier, Chris. You look at the pass distribution. If it's a wide receiver, it's only been Marquise Brown.
He's not practicing all the time, so Lamar's throwing to the other receivers. But when he gets Hollywood in the game, he gets excited and he starts to target him. For them to grow as a passing offense, you got to be able to get those others involved. But tremendous start in the first game and a half.
Hollywood in motion here. All 4 of his catches were in the first quarter. Short gain, Mark Ingram. Buda Baker with a stop along with Suggs.
That's a great point by you with Hollywood. We know. I have a picture of that tremendous scar that he's got on his foot. He's limited, only practicing maybe a practice and a half per week. So as the game goes on, does that foot start to give him a problem because he's not used to being on the practice field? I wouldn't expect him to be healthy until around November. We got Randy Moss's rookie year. He had a high ankle sprain. We didn't let people know it, but he wasn't healthy until November.
Ingram rolling out underneath to Ricard. Had a touchdown reception last week. Here he steps out back around the 24. So the game will not be as big as the Baltimore faithful thought originally. That's that two-way player, though, you were talking about, Patrick Ricard.
I mean, I haven't had to study. I've only called a few games in the last couple of years, but I haven't had to study for a guy playing fullback, tight end, and a guy playing middle linebacker and nickel. Tremendous asset, but we shouldn't be surprised coming from Harbaugh. That's the kind of coach he is. He's looking for a gem like that. Only special teams coach to ever be named a head coach and doing a tremendous job in his 12 years here in Baltimore.
Because of the spot, 3rd down and 6, and play clock winding down, Lamar Jackson's going to have to burn Baltimore's timeout here, the first of 3.
First charge timeout, Baltimore.
We'll step aside with him. 7:28 to go in the 3rd. Third and 6. Well, if they go to the air, Lamar's been good on 3rd down today.
He's been excellent on 3rd down. Decision-making's improved, reading out the coverages. Through his whole offseason work, him and the whole coaching staff were going over the various coverages, how they were defending him, and he feels like he's much more equipped to attack defenses in year number 2.
14 and 19 all told, make it 15 to 20. Now Ingram trying to get to the sticks, and he will, to keep the drive alive. Ingram went down earlier in the first half. That scary moment as he reached for his kidney, but he looks good now.
Yeah, I saw a couple of his teammates joking to him on the sideline how he fell. He got a good laugh at it after the fact,
right,
that they know that you're okay. But that was a tough shot. Running blind down the sideline, and the guy hits you with an open rib cage. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, for a moment he was writhing in pain. A lot of bulk in the backfield here, and they'll run behind that bulk with Ingram, stretching it out to the 36. Let's go to LA for a game break. Here's Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Brandon. Seahawks Steelers, Russell Wilson connecting with tight end Will Disley for the 2nd time today. Wilson's 200th career touchdown. Pittsburgh has added a field goal. Seahawks up 14-13. Ben Roethlisberger out in this game with an elbow injury. Mason Rudolph is in. Brandon?
Ooh, the Pittsburgh trying to avoid going to 0-2. You don't see that often.
No. Ben Roethlisberger out. People are going to be talking about Ben, Mike Tomlin. Tough in Pittsburgh.
A lot of storylines there. In the early part of the season, flag comes in. Jackson rather, being draped out of bounds, and here's a second flag. So that one is going to go against Cassius Marsh, but we'll have to see what the first flag is about. And Marsh, well, acrobatics there, he's fired up.
I think the first flag was illegal formation. Didn't like they had an end guy on the line of scrimmage. The tackle was uncovered. And this is definitely a penalty.
Yeah, that's the second penalty. With two hands inside the collar.
It's a dangerous play there. When a guy pulls you by the...
There were fouls by both teams during the play. Illegal formation by the offense. Number 78 was lined up on the end of the line and not covered up. Personal foul, horse collar tackle. Defense, number 54. By rule, the illegal formation foul is declined. The personal foul is accepted 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
So that turns out pretty good for Baltimore.
This is the most frightening tackle in football, besides a direct headshot, because once he grabs onto the back of your jersey or inside your pads, he drops all his weight, and you're not ready for it. In the back of your legs, your knees, a lot of bad injuries come from the horse collar. Glad they put that rule in.
Thankfully, Lamar went down okay. 1st and 10 from just across midfield. Screen out left, and Hollywood Brown, first catch since the first quarter that time. Short one, 3 yards.
Continue setting it up. They ran the tight end on the wheel route up the sideline, but it was a fake off the same type of action where they fake the swing and slip them. These are all going to be the staple plays within their offense to be able to set up other things. So sometimes you think swing pass, only getting 3 or 4 yards, but it's setting up other things for not only later in the game, but for later in the season.
When Hollywood Brown came into our meeting Friday, 5'9", 170, but I think that might be generous. That guy is small, speedy, but small.
He is small, but the thing about smaller players is, can they play through contact? And that's what we saw in the Miami game. He was excellent.
Stepping up here, now Jackson trying to avoid the pressure. And throwing it away on the run, able to get outside the tackle box. So good elusiveness to save the sack there by Lamar Jackson.
Great defense by Arizona. They got everyone covered down the field. They got 6 guys committed to the rush there. So Lamar is really not an escape lane. Instead of making a bad play, instead of forcing it down the field, you got good field position. Don't make a mistake. Throw it away. Let's dial it up on 3rd down and try to convert. And even if I don't make that, let's play field position. This is a defensive-oriented team. Great special teams. Best kicker ever. So just don't make mistakes and turn the ball over.
They need to get to the 39, and they do it. Mark Andrews. What a game he has had. Andrews, another reception there, his 6th of the afternoon.
He runs a little tight end option. He's going to go up and pivot off into here. Lamar's going to find him. What Lamar's looking for is, where's the defender playing leverage? If he's playing on my outside, Brandon, he's going to throw it to the inside. If the DB happens to slide inside, the tight end's going to give him a little head nod, and we're going to go outside. So good chemistry between the passing game. That's what Lamar talked about. He gets with his wide receivers in the offseason the way other veteran quarterbacks are able to do to build that chemistry.
Faking the handoff, Jackson looking for space on the right side, able to get the edge. I thought Budda Baker might cut him off, but he beat him to the spot.
I'm glad you saw it, because I didn't know where the ball was. That action they run, they got 2 tight ends in the backfield. They're running like a double lead, double blast. Once that end crashes, Lamar's not deciding I'm going to run until that end crashes. Once he does, he pulls it out. Now you have to play honest. Watch the defensive end when you're a dual threat quarterback. If his shoulders turn inside to the running back, you're able to keep it. If he stays parallel with the line, then you hand it to the running back.
9th play of the drive. Hollywood Brown getting down for the first down to the 25-yard line. Tremaine Brock on the stop. A little extracurricular activity between Brock and Hollywood.
Yeah, good tackle there. Hollywood was getting ready to shake and bake. He was getting ready to put something on him. Good conversion, though. We can't always have Marquise Brown as a deep threat down the field. You put more fear into the defense if you can get him the ball quick and allow him to operate.
Crowd saw that last play, and they wanted a face mask on Tremaine Brock, but no flag. This time, it's Ingram. Down to the 22, Jordan Hicks with a stop, gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
This is the portion of that offense that's the sledgehammer. Like, they finesse you, a lot of fake, get on the edge, go to Hollywood outside. We get a tight end on the conversion. But the Baltimore Ravens that I know, ultimately when the game boils down, it's going to boil down to a street fight. Their defense is great. We had the numbers earlier, but their offense and the ability to play physical, it matches up with what John Harbaugh wants to do in creating a physical football team.
Here back to the air, underneath, incomplete. Through the hands of Miles Boykin. Talked about how the other wide receivers hadn't been targeted. That's the first time he's looked at number 80.
And the coaching staff is really looking for big things from Miles Boykin. He's a big kid, 6'4", 220 pounds. Right here, he messes up the read. He stops. The quarterback thinks he's going to go running. That's why the quarterback throws it in front of him, because the coverage dictates him to keep running. As a young player, he really hadn't made up his mind. You can see he didn't question it, and he fooled the quarterback.
Goes back to the sideline for the 12th play of the drive. Edwards splits out wide left. Arizona bringing 4 over the middle. Caught for the first down. Guess who? Mark Andrews. And he has his 7th catch of the ball game.
I'm so impressed with Lamar's ball placement, because people talked about his lack of accuracy coming out of college, but Bobby Petrino had really trained him. He's a better thrower of the football than people give him credit for. Even look at his numbers last year. He knew the double team was like 3 yards away, so let me throw him a hard, low to the ground so he doesn't take that big hit.
And Andrews at 101 yards after 108 last week. Ingram trying to cut it back in as a flag comes down.
I think a little offensive holding on the end of the line of scrimmage on this one.
Holding. Offense. Number 86. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Nick Boyle, the tight end.
All 3 of their tight ends can block here, but he's trying to come off and get this seal. He's not able to get a clean one. As a defender tries to escape him, you have to be able to let him go. When you have that right arm outside the defender's left arm, they're not looking for grabbing. They're just looking for technique. So a lot of times you can get away with a holding if you're able to get inside that breastplate on that right arm and grab the jersey or grab a part of his shoulder pads. That's what you're supposed to. Young tight end gets wrapped up around him. Side judge going to call it every time.
Stop Terrell Suggs. You know Suggs would love to get a sack back here in Baltimore. Play action. Try to set it up underneath, incomplete.
They had a tight end set up right here. The only thing would have stopped him is one of the pylons or the goalposts he would have bumped his head on. They allowed him to rush up the field, slipped it to him. Lamar that time decided to throw it sidearm. They get a hand on it. He's got to come straight over the top with a release that they can't get. You see, he tries to go sidearm, but he's got nothing but running room. He's got 2 blockers in front of him. Oh, that was going to be a touchdown right there.
Instead, 2nd and 20 as you see Corey Peters head off to the locker room. They empty the backfield. Jackson fires a fastball, incomplete, intended for Boyle. Tried to fit that in between 3 red shirts.
Arizona's playing a soft cover 2. Earlier in the game, remember we had the big conversion on the catch, the hit, and the fumble? It was cover 2, the same coverage they're playing right now. He's not able to get enough air on the throw that they're able to get. Great play design. Spreading the field with big people, tight ends out wide. One guy going up the seam was open. Not enough space for Lamar to be able to fit it in there.
This is now an 8-minute drive as Lamar Jackson takes off. Lost his towel, but keeps his feet all the way down to the 5. The football rolled forward, but he was down. Right around the line to gain.
Down by contact, short of the line to gain. It's 4th down.
4th down, they say short, and yeah, he's down.
Definitely down. Great play call by Greg Roman. 3rd and long. They run a quarterback draw. He's reading his blockers. Very, very elusive once he gets into the secondary. We know he's developing as a passer, but the most dangerous thing is his running skills.
Clock winding down. They're going to go for it here. 4th and a yard. Watch the play clock. Flags come in. They didn't get a timeout.
Blame game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Goes without saying, you just can't do that in that spot.
It's a hard situation. I'm not going to make an excuse for him, but when he fumbled and the ball goes through the end zone, all that little time, they had already started the play clock. So by the time they got back to the huddle, they didn't have a full 24. He didn't recognize that as a young quarterback. They had a motion. He should have lined the guy up where he's supposed to be. He lined up left and was going to go zoom motion. Just make him go over to the right and line up, and then we get an attempt to convert that one. Now we got to settle for 3 if we're able to convert this.
I was waiting also for the sideliner, John Harbaugh, to call the timeout, but none came in.
Absolutely. Save the kid in that.
And we've hit zeros at the end of the 3rd quarter. We got a good one in Baltimore. It's a 1-possession game as we head to the 4th. Arizona yet to find the end zone, but they're very much in this game, 17-9, at least for the moment, as this Baltimore drive is stalled, and they will try for 3. As Kyler Murray gets set to come back out after this Justin Tucker attempt from 28 yards away. No problem. Tucker perfect 3 of 3 on the season, 2 of 2 today, and it's 20-9. We will be right back after this short message. 20-9. Lamar Jackson, long drive, but it's stalled out. They settle for 3. Kyler Murray saying, hey, this is a very similar position to where I was last week in the 4th quarter.
Oh, yes. Last 11 minutes, Cardinals scored 18 points in regulation. They train in the desert. Coach talks about they want to be able to ultimately be able to wear teams out. They weren't able to get the number of plays they were able to get, but they're expecting to always do well in the 4th quarter because of their condition.
Damiere Byrd from around the goal line. Going to break it out right, and he sneaks it across the 20. In honor of its 100th season, the NFL is encouraging fans to join players, teams, and the NFL family in a year-long volunteer initiative called Huddle for 100. Choose a cause, volunteer 100 minutes of your time, and help shape what your community will look like for the next 100 years. Together, we can reach 100 million minutes. Visit NFL.com/huddle for 100 to track your minutes and get rewarded as well. John Harbaugh hoping his crew can get to 2-0. Kyler Murray looking to come from behind yet again like he did in week 1.
I love the fact that he's spreading the ball around to a variety of people, not throwing the ball in the coverage, and even though he's been under duress, hadn't been a clean pocket to be able to perform in today.
Throwing here. And wide open, Larry Fitzgerald. How does Fitzgerald get that wide open all the way down near the 25-yard line before he's tackled by Tony Jefferson? A pickup of 54.
He goes from here, we call it cross county, a little play fake just to get the linebackers to suck up a little bit. No rush on the quarterback to be able to give him time to be able to escape it.
Of all the guys you might want to keep track of in a red jersey, I think Larry Fitzgerald's one of them.
That's what Earl Thomas told us yesterday. Got to keep an eye on Fitzy.
Throwing again here. And swung around. Damiere Byrd with a catch. As the clock approaches 14 minutes to go in the fourth, and Arizona still trying to find the end zone for the first time.
And you can't forget what they did to Detroit last week. People blaming on, oh, Detroit was winded. But Baltimore's not winded, and Arizona is on the attack, and a lot like what we've seen in last week's fourth quarter and in overtime.
Play action, dumping it underneath. Christian Kirk, 10-5, cutting back. And he's going to be stopped just shy of the goal line. 18-yard gain, and Arizona's knocking on the door.
If you start trying to play too much man-to-man, they get guys mixed up. They swing him out of the backfield, blown coverage. No one within 10 yards of him once he catches the ball.
Kirk up over 100 yards, like Fitzgerald is as well. Murray directing traffic. Watch the play clock. Incomplete. Trying to go to Damiere Byrd. Flag comes in.
Illegal contact, Baltimore. Defensive back might have got him when the ball was coming.
Pass interference. Defense number 34, half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Anthony Averett.
Now he's filling in for Jimmy Smith, the good corner that they have over there. Has been over there for a number of years. But I thought it was good defense on that play.
Hey. So now, first and goal again. The nose of the football, a half yard away from the end zone. Johnson in, untouched. Well, just like last week, it takes Arizona into the fourth quarter before they get their first score, but they have it, and it makes it yet again a one-possession game.
A lot like last week. How they get it started? Big play to Larry Fitzgerald. He creates the energy. They go down, finish it off with a touchdown drive, which led to more points after that for Arizona. But that got their confidence going.
And now a big two-point conversion to try to make it a three-point game. They converted one of these last week to send it to overtime.
Air raid offense typically wants to run a lot of picks. Watch Larry in the flat.
Murray backpedaling, throwing. Caught in the back of the end zone by Keyshawn Johnson. And we've got a three-point ball game with 12:52 to play. Larry Fitzgerald with a 54-yard catch to set it all up. And then David Johnson takes it to the house. And after the two-point conversion, we're only separated by a field goal. So Arizona getting into the end zone, getting the two-point conversion, and now only down 20-17. Through the back of the end zone, and you were really impressed with that two-point conversion throw by Kyler Murray.
He was under duress. I like how Cliff Kingsbury ran almost the same play, but to bait him to think they're going to throw to the flat what they ran last week. But Keyshawn, instead of setting a pick for Larry, he comes across the end line. Man, Kyler throwing it, a fadeaway jump shot, right the way the coaches teach it, leading Keyshawn across the back to get the conversion to make this a new ball game.
And of course, Cliff Kingsbury loved it. So now his crew back within a field goal as Lamar Jackson gets his turn again. Inside handoff, Ingram stretching it out to the 27, gain of 2. Said it during the break, like, the longer they let Arizona hang around, they start to believe.
I mean, if you watch NFL games long enough, it might look like one team is dominating, but if they're not dominating on the scoreboard, they're within one score or a touchdown and a field goal. Typically, that team makes one big play and they're right back into the game. They make the big play to Fitzy after not converting on the 4th and 1 with the delay of game, settling for a field goal. That right there is a huge turning point.
Empty backfield here for Jackson. Going right back to Mark Andrews, who goes over the top. Little hurdle action at 6'5", 260.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on at all levels. I watch high school I watch high school on Friday. I watch college on Saturday. Everybody wants to jump over top of these guys. It used to be your coaches used to, they used to get on you for jumping over guys like this, but it's a new thing now.
Right over Chris Jones. And he has a new career high with 112 yards after getting a career high 108 last week. Out left here, diving for it, Miles Boykin. That's a catch.
Miles Boykin's got to be big for them. Not only just because I say he's big, he's the biggest receiver that they have. You need a big physical receiver, especially in the AFC North when the weather changed. You go to Cleveland, you go to Pittsburgh, small guys, they get a little colder than big guys once you start playing the game. So a perfect complement, only a rookie, opposite of Hollywood Brown, but they should be a nice combination for a long time for Ravens fans to see.
Up the middle, across the 50 goes Justice Hill to the 48, gain of 4. You're talking about Boykin, haven't seen a lot of Snead, but there's no doubt this offense has the playmakers. We haven't heard Terrell Suggs' name a whole lot. With more on that, let's go down to Peter.
Terrell Suggs just out the last few plays, but was given a huge motivational speech on the sideline to the Cardinals and the Cardinals defense. He's on the field now. Look for him coming off the edge.
16 years for the Ravens before going to Arizona the offseason. Jackson going to tuck it, take off, first down, and stepping out. He has been so good running the football today, up over 110 yards.
His ability to recognize coverages, it's just so superior to what we've seen from him through the second half of last season. He realizes man-to-man, Arizona, great coverage. They're matted to every guy out there in the secondary. He decides, I'm going to pull it down early because this is going to hurt the defense. It's going to be impossible to be able to plan for Lamar. Is he going to run? Is he going to throw? I like that where he's developing as far as his patience of when to throw and when to run.
Fakes the give to Edwards, and that time he misses Mark Andrews. He had him.
When Lamar misses, because sometimes he drops down a little 3/4, and if you throw the ball 3/4, the ball has a chance to sail. It doesn't have the opportunity to get up and down. The prototype quarterbacks throw right over the top. As you can see on this one, he sails it. He's going to keep running on this one. That's 2. 2 that he missed to the tight end. They're going to be inside the 5 or score touchdowns. Let's just see how that continues as far as where his misses are.
You saw his frustration after. Now on 2nd and 10, pressure coming. And he flips that out well above the head of Mark Andrews. So 3rd and 10. Jackson again frustrated.
Didn't have the time to sit and wait on the routes to develop there. Arizona, Vance Joseph starting to play a lot more man-to-man. Vance Joseph coming over after his 1-year stint. A lot of people in the business believe he didn't get a fair shake there with John Elway in Denver. 2 years there. Last year they were 3-1, and they were talking about getting rid of him. He ends up here. He should help the rookie coach by stabilizing that defense.
From here, it would be about a 56-yard field goal. That'll get him a little closer. Willie Snead, first catch of the game, trying to break free, but he cannot.
Great job by Greg Roman, realizing 3rd and long. We were watching the field goal kicker before, and we know he was almost automatic from 45 to 50. So let's just get a short gain, put him close to his range, around 50, 52. Most accurate kicker ever in the history of the game.
And this will be a 51-yard attempt for Justin Tucker. Either way, though, a win for that Cardinals defense, because if he makes it, they're still only down 6.
We watched him practicing going the other way. He was kicking at 56 yards into the middle of the net. Let's see, because he's into a little wind here.
He says, yeah, I know I'm into the wind. I don't care. No problem. Ravens up 6. Arizona ball after this timeout. Arizona's defense holds to 3, and now Kyler Murray with a chance to improve on these late game numbers.
It's hard to remain confident. This kid, last week we saw get off to a slow start, finishes in a flurry. This week starts fast, then gets a little cold, and now he's hot again.
For more on Kyler Murray, let's check back in with Peter Schrager.
You would think that a 3-score comeback in the fourth quarter would be a big deal in a first career start. We asked Kyler Murray about it, kind of looked at us weird and said, have you guys followed my high school career? I came back from far greater deficits. There is nothing too big for Kyler Murray. And just now, he was talking with Terrell Suggs and Larry Fitzgerald on the sidelines, two 37 and 38-year-old players. They're looking to him for leadership. Here comes Kyler for another attempt at a game-winning drive.
I want to talk about a guy that was oozing with confidence in our meetings, as Peter's alluding to. Man, he was full of it.
Yeah, he has the confidence of the good quarterbacks that I've seen. Quarterbacks are different.
Big spot here. Was there movement? There's no flag. And Kyler Murray never had a shot. Brandon Carr coming in to take him down easily.
They come with the cat blitz off the slot. He doesn't see it. Brandon Carr's been D'ing up Larry Fitzgerald. They have a little zone dog behind it. He gets a free shot. Big sack to be able to start that series.
Just the second of the career of Brandon Carr. And it is, as you said, a big one to make it 2nd and 17. Over the middle, incomplete. Charles Clay couldn't grab it. Even if he caught it, Humphrey was right there.
Marlon Humphrey, a lot of people remember his dad, Bobby Humphrey, the tailback. Excellent quarter. University of Alabama player. In the 3 receiver sets, they believe that their cornerback play is as good as anyone else in the league.
What does Cliff Kingsbury have in the playbook? 3rd and 17 here. Play clock at 1. They just get it off. And they go safe underneath to Christian Kirk. Nowhere near the marker, and Arizona will have to punt. And a frustrating sequence of events there to 3 and out for the Cardinals.
Yeah, you got to get a better play on first down. They were out of sync. Kyler didn't have the chance. Didn't seem like the offensive line was in sync with the center snap.
Down that first down play, I said it. I thought there was going to be a flag with the right side of the line moving. Deep punt. Jones from inside the 20. And hit hard just across the 30-yard line. 7:30 to go. Kyler Murray couldn't get anything on that drive, so the Cardinals still down 6. While we were away, we had a little scuffle, and it all goes back to this tackle by Dennis Gardeck on Cyrus Jones.
He did lower his head, but it wasn't helmet to helmet. Kind of hit him on the shoulder.
And then both sides got in there. We're mixing it up.
Yeah, Budda Baker, DJ Swearinger, those guys are ready to fight. They got a reputation around the league. They will mix it up.
DJ Swearinger, he was released by Washington in December after publicly criticizing his D coordinator, so you're right, he'll get in the thick of things. But ultimately Baltimore takes over here. Lamar Jackson popped in the air, nearly intercepted as Baker was coming in to dive for it. Intended for Hollywood Brown and almost picked.
Great coverage by Byron Murphy. Murphy's going to be a good corner in this league. Second corner off the board. Steve Keim and his staff there, the general manager of Arizona, did a good job getting him. Got great size, great speed. Last week against Detroit, gave up some plays, but in his first NFL game and a start, he's going to be a good player. They get Patrick Peterson back on the other side. They got a couple other guys that are injured. This secondary has a chance to be pretty good this year.
Jackson, like we've seen him do so many times, tucks it in the left arm, runs for the first down. When he breaks contain, look out. 14 yards there.
You wouldn't think in a game like this, because after the game they're going to say Lamar is at an all-time high rushing. Well, what did he do throwing? No, he threw the ball excellent. This is the new Lamar Jackson. Last week, they didn't give him the run. They gave him the pass. They took it. And this week, early, the ends are starting to crash, and he's able to get outside and make some plays with his feet. This is the best game of his pro career after that amazing, perfect quarterback rating he had in last week's game.
Yeah, that's saying something. Up to 126 rush yards. This time it's Gus Edwards. Hasn't gotten a ton of action today. He'll take it to the 48.
Gus Edwards is the guy that they're going to use. Last year led them in rushing. Him, Mark Ingram, Lamar Jackson, that run veer option. It's going to be tough for teams around the league. He's a physical presence, can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah, what a great change of pace back to have with Ingram. All part of that Swiss Army knife offense you talked about.
Those two, Justin Hill coming out, he's a little more of a receiver than the other two. Gives Greg Roman many options as far as what he wants to do.
This time back to Ingram. Hard running, straight ahead, first down to the 44. Nothing fancy there.
Nothing fancy, but they have every ability. If you want to open up, they can go 3 or 4 wides. You want to bring it down, go physical, they can go 2 tight ends, a fullback. They're one of the few teams, a lot like New England, the way they played after week number 15. Let's get physical. Let's put some big people back there. I love what Greg Roman's doing because the versatility in Baltimore's offense hadn't been there for a few years.
Ingram again trying to bounce it out right, but he's stopped right around the line of scrimmage by Tremaine Brock and company. Start to get that point in the game where you're really watching the clock. If the Ravens can get points out of this and make it a 2-score game, Arizona's going to be in a tough spot.
Let's play to our defense. Let's play to our special teams. We know the type of kicker that we have. Let's get one more first down, milk that clock under 3 minutes, and that's the way you're able to put these games away. Weather starts to turn in October, start to get a little colder. Hollywood Brown, we're going to have to introduce him to some cold weather. He's from down there in South Florida. That's going to be something new to him.
Yeah, we'll check back in with him October, November. Speaking of Hollywood Brown, well, he got away, but they had already ruled the play dead. And the crowd is angry. So is Hollywood Brown. He's saying, well, you can't whistle me down that early.
Yeah, but as a player, you'd much rather a quick whistle. Because if you don't have a quick whistle, you got a guy like Budda Baker, you got a guy like DJ Swearinger come in and they lay that hat on you and injure you. So good call by the refs.
The fans, they were letting the officials hear it.
At 170 pounds, man, don't stand up.
Well, you talked about him being able to fight through contact. That's a prime example. Over the middle, incomplete. Now the crowd wants a flag. There is none. They say good coverage by Byron Murphy. The booze raining in Baltimore.
He's here. He's going to go up and across the middle. You have to be able to give him this call. The DB gets there before the ball gets there. The receiver doesn't have a chance to make it. DB plays through him. Typically, wide receiver, especially that back judge sitting right back there, is supposed to give him that call.
So a huge play, a huge non-call, and now 4th and 11. And wait a minute, remember, this can be reviewed this year. First year that this is reviewable. And let's welcome in Dean Blandino for the first time. Dean, you saw it. What are your thoughts on the no call?
Yeah, this is now reviewable, right? And obviously a big call. The defender can't play through the back. He has a right to the path of the football, but he can't play through the back. It does look on video that he is early. On the field, it's so close. The official sees it once in real time. But we have the ability to slow it down, and it does look like the contact is just before the ball gets there. Now it's judgment. Is this clear and obvious? I think if the flag is down on the field initially, they keep it down. It's going to be close as to whether they think this is enough to add the foul.
So this is one where you're happy that you're in Los Angeles and not on the field making the call.
This is where I'm always happy here in Los Angeles. We got great food. We got all these great amenities. But again, this is a tough call, and they're going to have to determine, is that obvious enough to create the foul in replay?
Right. As we go through the 2019 season, this will be the toughest call on the board. It's a rule change from last year, but you can't play through the defender, not unless the ball, you're going for a 50-50 ball. If you're going for a 50-50 ball down the sideline and you make eye contact with the ball as a defender, then you can go to the ball. When you're coming across the middle, it's a different, because the flight of the ball is lower. If he had taken his right arm and taken it off of his hip and taken his left around and deflected the ball, that would have been a cleaner play that I would have liked to see. But most DBs, they're going to put that right arm on you to make sure that they have you in case they miss the ball.
You saw the verbiage on the rule change for this year, and if you've been living under a rock, of course, the impetus for this was the NFC Championship game. Here's the call.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands as called.
So the boos come in, but Dean, again, that was a close judgment call.
It's all judgment, right? We are now in this subjective world of, was that enough to hinder the receiver's ability to make a play on the ball? This isn't the ball touching the ground. It's subjective judgment. And sometimes we're all going to look at it a little bit differently.
Baltimore now down to one timeout as they punt it here with 3:55 to go.
I'm not going to look at it different. I'm a wide receiver, Dean.
Fair catch inside the 10. Oh, we're getting down to the good stuff. Maybe it's time to go to old reliable El Fitz. 36 years old. So many accolades. 16 seasons with one team along with Rice and Brown. And last week, 113 yards. First time he's done that in an opener since 2006. I mean, there's not much more you can say about number 11.
No.
But he's still 13 touchdowns behind you, partner.
I told Mr. Bidwell, y'all need to do something before the game. We can't have him play 17, 18 years. He'll pass me. That's the only thing I'm ahead of besides age.
So now he starts on the sidelines here for this drive.
2 tight ends, 1 back.
Murray just throws it underneath. Looked like he was trying to call a timeout right before the snap came.
There's been some tremendous miscommunication between him and the center, A.Q. Shipley.
And the flag came down, and now the officiating crew gets together. You're right, though. He and A.Q. Shipley have been off several times. It looks like this is going against the offense. Here's Ron Torbert.
Number 13 was in the vicinity of the pass. There was no intentional grounding. An incomplete pass. Second down.
So they escaped the penalty.
They had a number of plays in Detroit like this, just wasted plays. Came out in the formation, didn't look like they knew what they were doing, just throwing plays away. In an NFL game, you just can't waste plays, and that right there is a wasted play.
Now 2nd and 10 from inside their 10. Handoff. David Johnson, flag comes down as Johnson is brought down across the 15. And this might be a hold.
Holding. Offense, number 64. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat second down.
So
watch
that's
the right
on
guard.
Sweezy.
Yeah, I got to do it to you, Sweezy. That's you right there. Right guard holding. They have a defensive back up into the line of scrimmage. They thought they were going to get a big guy on a small guy and bust David Johnson out. He gets his arms outside the refs, especially early in the season. They're calling that all day long.
And we welcome those of you who are watching the Cowboys and the Redskins. Dallas gets the win 31-21. We got a good one here between 2 young quarterbacks. 2nd and 14 for Kyler Murray and company. Murray backing up. Fires a fastball incomplete. In and out of the hands of Damiere Byrd. 3rd and 14. These last 2 drives, this Baltimore defense has really stood up to the test.
Offense in a situation like this, don't get consumed with the first down. 3rd and 14. Try to get about 8 to 10 to put the coach in a situation that maybe he'll call a timeout and we go for it. Because if you turn it over on downs, there's a chance you might not get the ball back with Baltimore's 4-minute offense bleeding out the rest of that clock.
And there was some miscommunication there on the line, and here comes the flag, a false start.
Before the ball was snapped, false start. Offense, number 74. After this is to the goal, it's third down.
CC, it's another self-implosion for Arizona.
Well, Arizona won the communication. They knew it was going to be bad. Anytime you're backed up in the NFL end zone, that crowd noise coming from their fans is always hard to run their offense. But you got to give, that wasn't a defensive scheme that he didn't like, confused. That was all the crowd right there.
3rd and 16 from the end zone. Murray lofts it up. Fitzgerald in the area, but no shot at it. 4th down with 3:24 to play, and Arizona will punt it. And Matthew Judon with a couple words for the rookie quarterback, Kyler Murray.
You can see the defender starting to get under his skin. Last week he had a few comments. This week you can see a lot more interaction, a lot more head nodding.
Dangerous spot here with Andy Lee in the back of the end zone, but he gets it away.
Watkins should have blocked that one.
Jones from inside the 40 with a stumble, and then he's hit right around the 45-yard line. Lamar Jackson, reigning AFC Offensive Player of the Week. He's done it again here today.
He's been amazing today. When they took away the inside run with the quarterback run option, he pulls it out, making the right decision, getting down or getting out of bounds. He made some tight throws into windows to his tight end. I told you, Andrews is his #1 target until Marquise Brown gets 100%, and I don't think that's going to happen until late in November. So right now, Lamar, week in and week out, how's he going to do it to you, Greg Roman said. Greg Roman said, how do you want your meat cut? You want thin sliced, you want chunks?
At 126 rushing yards. Here he's going to have to run for it, but he's not going to get anywhere. Had nowhere to go with the football, and he's draped down at the 40-yard line. Zach Allen able to get to him, a loss of 5. As the clock stops with 3:08 to go. And we go to LA. We got a game break. Here's Carissa Thompson.
Thank you so much. Steelers trailing 28-19 when Mason Rudolph finds Vance McDonald in the back of the end zone for a 3-yard score. Of course, Mason Rudolph in for an injured Ben Roethlisberger. Steelers still trailing 28-26. Brennan?
All right, Carissa. So Arizona takes the timeout. Each team with 1 remaining as we get a peek at the game summary. Here's what the 2 quarterbacks have done. And you mentioned Mark Andrews with a great game. Both teams really getting everyone involved. 18 players with a catch in this one.
For 2 young quarterbacks, guys that have the ability to be able to run, might be the fastest 2 guys on the field. You asked me before the game, Chris, am I going to get used to seeing this? Well, there are going to be more quarterbacks have their skill set getting the opportunity.
This drive starts on the ground, trying to keep that clock rolling here on 2nd and 15. And now that'll bring up 3rd down as they get it out to the 44. So Arizona takes their final timeout with 3:01 to go.
Please set the game clock to 3 minutes, 5 seconds, please. 3:05.
But if they can get the stop here, Kyler Murray's going to get 1 more shot.
Greg Roman, huge call coming up for here. They don't have any timeouts left. You know they have 1 stoppage of play coming at the 2-minute warning. So do you trust your quarterback? Because we said he trusted him. He's been working on everything this offseason. Now is one of those moments of truth where you start to send the message to your team. Do I play conservative, keep the ball on the ground, or do I put the ball in Lamar's hands and give him the dual option either to run or to pass? Door number 2 is what I would proceed. I have a little play fake, roll him out. If he doesn't have anything, he can get on the ground to keep that clock going, because not only are they battling against the Arizona Cardinals, right now their opposition happens to be the clock.
Empty backfield for Lamar Jackson. They need 11 yards. He's going for much more than that. Hauls it in. The catch of the game from the rookie. Jackson dropped it right in the breadbasket.
He's right here. He's going to run a takeoff in the slot. One-on-one matchup. Lamar likes the matchup. Gives him. That's the lowest percentage throw in football, and he's able to complete it. If Lamar keeps growing like this, Greg Roman's going to. He's going to make a believer out of me. I thought they'd roll him out and get him something a little safer, but it speaks to the confidence that they have in him.
41 yards, and Brown now at 86 with 8 catches. What a huge play. Flag comes flying in as Gus Edwards is able to leak inside the 10-yard line before he's tackled by Rodney Gunter.
Illegal formation by the offense. Number 79 was lined up on the end of the line and did not report. It's 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Both offensive lines have struggled with penalties today.
He should have someone outside of him. They should either have the fullback, got a couple of fullbacks in the game, or the tight end should have been outside of him. A couple of tight ends in the game, one fullback.
That backs him up 1st and 15. Both-year head coach John Harbaugh looking on, trying to get his team to 2-0. 18 penalties between these two squads. Gus Edwards, the bigger back. Former undrafted free agent, taking it down shy of the 15, a gain of 3.
Cardinals committed 9 guys to the run here. Wouldn't be surprised if Lamar faked it into the line of scrimmage, ends crashing down, if he was able to keep one to go around the outside to seal this ball game.
Of course, the only way that Arizona can stop the clock is a 2-minute warning. No timeouts left. Baltimore is going to let this thing wind down as far as they can. Last time it was Edwards. Here it's Ingram. Pushing his way forward. Down inside the 10. Just shy of the 5. Gigantic run that takes us to the 2-minute warning. And talk about gigantic plays. How about Hollywood Brown on that catch? 2 minutes to play from M&T Bank Stadium. Hollywood Brown on the sideline right now, but how about this start to an NFL career? Not bad.
It's amazing. I know that other kid too, Anquan Bolden. He's from South Florida. Got off to a great start. But Greg Roman talked about not only him being small, but being able to play through contact. He said one of the things that we haven't seen was the deep threat as far as him tracking the deep ball. And he said that Marquise must have played some baseball, some center field in his day, because he could track the ball so well. A lot of people think that that's a skill that all receivers have. All of them don't. And as you can see, Greg Roman moves him in the slot, matches him up against Jermaine Brock, a 31-year-old, and he takes the old man to school.
3rd and 1 here, and they'll give it to Ingram. Ingram able to burrow forward and pick up the first down. And Arizona cannot stop that clock. And look at Ingram telling the Baltimore fans, yeah, get up. So Arizona, they have scratched, they have clawed, but it looks like they're going to come up a little short here today.
No, but they should be able to take a lot of things from them. They're growing the offense. Kingsbury and this staff, they're still learning. It's only his 2nd job. And look at the performance it took. It took a career high from Lamar rushing. We saw what he was doing with the passing.
Jackson down to a knee. Do that one more time, and Baltimore can put this game on ice. America's Game of the Week coming up next. Don't forget about that. Saints and the Rams when we are done here. And that should be a good one. And we saw a good one here today in Baltimore.
Yeah, if you want to know the intensity in that second game, Drew Brees, they asked him, Drew Brees, have you gotten over the call? He said, I'll never get over it. So I'm looking forward to getting tuned into that one.
Baltimore going to get to 2-0, and the Cardinals going to drop to 0-1-1 in the Kingsbury-Murray era. One more knee. And that will do it. So Baltimore, although they were challenged, they get to 2-0. And as you said, for Arizona and Cliff Kingsbury, maybe something to build on. (23-17) the final. Lamar Jackson sensational. 272 passing, 119 rushing. Bonus coverage coming up next. Right now, let's go to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.